and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I am your host, Matt Cooper, and today we're joined alongside Dave as a party. Dave, how are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very well. How are we?
Yeah, we're all good. How was your birthday?
It was all right, yeah. Apart from the match, but I said on the reaction, bad match or crap match, good night out. And yeah, it was a decent night out, to be fair. So yeah,
you had a few too many, didn't you? A few too many Fosters.
Oh, mate, I was on the old Corona without the virus, obviously.
Oh, the virus.
Yeah, I went to was it B@1? Went to B@1, and I said to my mate, "What are you drinking?" It's Corona. I was like, "Oh, go on then." So I was just on Coronas all night, and it didn't end well when I got home, unfortunately.
Do you not feel a bit gassy after drinking those one night? Not move on to a short vodka lime soda.
No, I was all right, to be fair. I had a few of the old tequila rose in between.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but that's probably what overdid it, to be fair.
Yeah. How much would I in B@1? About £9.
Oh, mate, 4 shots, £18.50.
Well,
Jesus Christ!
I don't think.
Good job I didn't pay.
Yeah. Who paid? Everyone else
getting my birthday. A few different people got involved.
Few fans.
Yeah. No fans on Saturday, unfortunately.
No fans.
Yeah.
I had
Birmingham neutral venue, innit?
I had a woman point me in the chest and went, "Matt Cooper bites," and I didn't really know what to do. So, hi. I went, yes, hi. Didn't know what to say. Welcome back, Jord, to the podcast as well. Jord, where have you been? What have you been up to? Fill everyone in and tell us.
Well, I did the transfer special, didn't I? I was out in Tel Aviv, and then the last sort of Super Bowl party was that last week or the week before? I can't remember.
Last week.
Super Bowl. No, last week was Super Bowl. The week before, I was snoozing clients, as you put it on the pod in London.
Which you were, weren't you?
I was, yeah. No, it's right. Yeah. Snoozing.
Week before Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Not snoozing.
Smoozing. Yeah, Mamma Mia was honestly, it's not good, is it? Like Monday nights have become like the new Saturday. But yeah, it's just been that. I've been sorting out my wedding as well, which has been all fun and games.
Which we're not invited to.
You are invited. I was going to say,
Wait,
just the pie. Oh.
Just the pie.
Well, you've got to make this. Yeah, the venue out there. Venue out in Antigua is very much limited.
No, we won't want to come anyway.
Oh, thanks, mate. But yeah, the party for back home has been booked in the Aspering Bridge North. So March 2023. Invites in the post.
24 or 23?
24, yeah. I ain't got married. Sorry, yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, no.
Get me outfit ready then.
Yeah, no. Next year we'll be partying. So there you go.
Okay.
So that's been me, mate. There you go.
That sounds good. We'll definitely be there if there's a party that's UK based.
Yeah. Antigua. No.
Well, we weren't invited to Antigua, and I feel like we might be cutting it a bit short now.
We'll have to get
no one's been invited.
And pay for our flights out there, mate.
Yeah, maybe get
BetMate want
to. Yeah.
Can you download
BetMate themed wedding?
Yeah. I was actually playing in Antigua, which I don't know whether you meant to be able to or not, but I did actually pick some teams when I was out there. Let's just say it's a British colony, so it's fine. Or was, should I say?
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Then what else have you been up to, Jordan? Anything to write home about? Just listen.
No.
I'm just asking, just curious. I feel like I've not spoken to you in ages.
No, not a lot really. You know, like I say, the wedding's been like all time consuming. Work's been busy. Obviously, had a sing song at Mamma Mia, which I spoke about the transfer special. Been out to Tel Aviv. Went to watch Maccabi Tel Aviv, which was quite fun. Watched them win 4-0 with the Ultras. That was nice.
Are they like the old goal pack or are they?
No, less flags than that too.
Less flags. On my camera, Jord, I don't know if it's just my resolution, but it looks like you're wearing a do-rag. Yeah, hair. It looks like
it's just a perfect hairline.
It's just so sharp.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going for it. Scouse looking at straight lines.
Yeah. That's very
Get
nice.
ready for them to fall away.
Yeah. How often do you have your haircut, Jord?
Usually every fortnight, and then I've got to go to a barber over in Aldrinford now, and they do the old nose wax in your.
That's when you know you're getting old.
Yeah,
so get that on the TikTok.
Honestly, yeah, it's an eye waterer, but it's good. I get a hot towel. I get all sorts. Honestly, I love it over there. It's
Happy
like a
ending.
little sometimes, yeah.
Sorry, where's his Barbers again? Just so we can avoid it.
Where's that?
Old Swinford. There you
Is
go.
that Swinford based?
Is that you?
Yeah. It's a good
Right,
little
now we've got
place,
the important stuff out of the way. Let's cast our minds back to Saturday, Dave. Wolves versus Bournemouth. I don't know how you felt about it, Dave, coming into it, but I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Wolves were gonna win this game.
Yeah, it's happened so often this season where you'd be like, Wolves have done well the last couple of weeks, sod's law, we turn up and we have a stinker. And it's sort of gone our way a little bit. Like the Southampton game, I thought, after beating Liverpool, Nathan Jones's comments, I thought, it's going to be, sod's law. We didn't. We got the win. I was really hoping that going into the Bournemouth game that we should have enough to beat them. But it was poor. It was just Wolves of 2022, wasn't it? Really, really disappointing. Slow atmosphere again was really low and dry, and just didn't really get going at all. To be honest, first half were okay in spells, but second half, despite us having a lot of the ball, just so poor, frustrating to watch.
Jord, what did you think? No Lamina, Martinho came in. Do you think that was, on reflection, the most sensible thing to do, or do you think João Gomez could have come in?
I think he got and again, I'm not gonna. I know people have been quite hypercritical for me about this whole performance and the defeat against Bournemouth. I'm not going to be too. I'm not that that versed, that it's like shocking and all this sort of stuff. But I think Lopetegui got the team wrong to start off with, and I think he got his subs wrong as well throughout the game. And I think that's probably the first time since he's been Wolves manager that we can even sort of semi-question sort of what he's doing. Obviously, he knows better than all us lot. But I thought, Moutinho for me now is a player that will come on and see out a game for you. I don't feel very confident with him starting, especially in that advanced role as well. I know he can do a job for you, but it doesn't fill you much confidence really. When you got Bournemouth at home, again, people have been, thinking it was a foregone conclusion. I feel like we could have set up more aggressively than what we did with the starting 11 as well. I just think Moutinho heading up that sort of, in the number 10 role sort of limits you a little bit. So yeah, I wasn't too happy. I wasn't too happy with the selection, but at the same time, we won the last two games and sort of just trust the process of, we should still get the 3 points with what was out on the pitch.
Yeah, Dave. First off, I didn't think it was that bad. I felt like we controlled the game. We created a few chances. Everyone around me in the North Bank thought that it was terrible and they didn't create any chances. But I don't think it was as bad as people, as Jord has just said there, as people are making out, really.
No, I thought the first half was all right and sort of went into it at half time thinking, carrying on like that, and we surely will get a goal. Got in behind a couple of at times. Didn't really test the goalkeeper probably as much as we would have wanted to. But, I think, again, you look at the corner stats, I think we'd had 6 or 7 in the first half alone. Adama picked up some half-decent spaces. But I think, unfortunately, that was just the plan throughout probably until Adama came off the pitch. Let's find Adama and see what he can do. Which I think limits us a little bit at times. But with the tools that he had and the players he had in front of him, I thought he did a half decent job. And like you going back to what you said about the selection there, Jord, I think, and I'm sure we'll speak a lot more about Cunha throughout the video, but I think if you maybe played Cunha in behind a striker or on the wing, and you played Diego Costa or Raul Jimenez up front, I think you've actually got someone for Adama to aim his crosses out there. He was getting into nice positions out wide, but once again, just absolutely nobody to aim at. So it was frustrating. I thought, first half was half decent. I think if we played somebody like, I don't know, like Newcastle this weekend and lost out, I don't think, the reaction would be so bad. But I think it's when other results have gone against us and we've given 3 points to what we will still call a relegation rival. That's probably what's most frustrating for people.
Yeah, but it's a game that we should have won for sure. And it's a game that we could have easily won, really. But Jord, what did you make of the first half? Did you think it was as bad as doom and gloom as people made out? Yes, we didn't score, but I still felt we created a few chances.
Yeah, like I say, I've seen some stinking takes on social media, like you do most weeks anyway. Like I think people are too reactionary. Like people get too high and too low from good and bad with results. But I thought the performance was fine. I think that was a far better performance than we've seen, in other games we've had this season. And I think looking at stats and stuff, I saw that we've had like 40. We had 40 touches in the opposition box, which is the most outside the top 6 teams. And
Yeah, the
you know,
other 14, isn't
the
it?
other 14, the page is called, isn't it? Yeah, and like we've gone games this season where we've had barely had 4 touches in the opposition box, let alone 40. And sometimes with football, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't go your way. And I think like I can't really fault anything in that first half. I thought we played. We could have played better. We played okay. We created enough chances. I think yeah, we should have gone in the lead, but it's one of those things. I don't think at half time I was thinking, "Oh, we're in trouble here. Like this is bad. We need to change anything up." Really, I just thought we should just do more of the same, like Dave said, and the goal should come.
Dave, I don't know about you, but I just think it's that attacking 3 is. I mean, 2/3 of it are still new to the Premier League, still finding their feet. But I just think they lack a bit of decisiveness. And when they get into good areas, like Cunha got into a couple of good areas, it's just hesitancy. You just need someone who's going to make a decision and have a shot, or to stop hesitating. Because there was a couple of times there where we could have probably created something, but just that last decision was wrong.
Yeah, the confidence in front of goal at the minute is obviously still not there. Cunha, like I think I said it on the match reaction. It's clear that there's a good footballer there, but it's just not. He's not a number 9. He's not gonna. It's unfair on us to be relying on him to score the goals to help keep us in the Premier League. I'd like to see him have a roll out wide or even in behind as a second striker. But it is that hesitancy. Get my teeth in. You even see it with Diego Costa as well. I think even in the game against Southampton was a perfect example. A couple of the times where the ball came towards him. I think Palace away we had a couple of chances similar as well.
He's had a lot of chances, to be fair.
Yeah, it's just that confidence in front of goal, getting a player and thinking, right, I'm going to test the goalkeeper here, because I know we talk about the shots on target, but the only clear opportunity I can remember us really testing Neto in that game was of Neves from outside of the area towards the end of the match. But other than that, I can't remember any proper good opportunities where I think we should have done better there. It's still not getting the ball enough in the right sort of areas.
Yeah, well, 40 touches in the opposition half, there's opposition area, as Jord said, which is the highest out of every other team outside the traditional big 6. But it's the right territory. But yeah, because it was just, there was no kind of cutting edge to it. It was.
There was once or twice, and I think one of the instances, somebody in the comments or whatever, correct me if I'm wrong, it led to their goal where we hesitated on the edge of the box. I think Martinho picked up the ball, had a couple of decent touches, and he could have so easily struck the ball and tested Neto, but in the end he almost like hesitated and tried to lay it back off for Neves, and that's when we lost it and they went down the other end and scored the goal. Just things like that. Just test the goalkeeper, unless it's a clear instruction by Lopetegui to try and work the ball into the box rather than trying to test the goalkeeper. Then there's no excuse for it, really. Get any sort of space, and we know Martinho can hit them, but he just doesn't do it often enough.
No, it is frustrating in that final third, but I just think it's not joined up, is it? Like, I think with Cunha, it probably gives you more flexibility in terms of fluidity. Jord across that 3, whereas Costa is saying that when Costa came on, he was like drifting out wide, and it just. Again, it wasn't joined up, and then you bring Costa and Jimenez off and take Adama off. It's like you've now got 2 focal points, and the only bloke who can beat a man and put a ball in the box is now off. But I don't know. Do you think that's what Lopetegui's trying to get, that front 3 to be fluid? Because we know Adama can't do it. So what's the thinking?
I think long term that is the plan. And when we got Cunha, I think I said that point, like he's not going to get you 15 goals. I don't think he'll get you 15 goals a season in the Premier League. And he sort of reminds me of what I'd seen more so of his tape when he was in the Bundesliga. A little bit like Roberto Firmino, sort of. He'll be the one he'd be intricate link you up. But then you've got, as Liverpool, they've had Salah and Mane for many years running in behind, and that's what made Firmino look like a better player. So I think that is what he wants to do. I feel like for me with Adama, again, like I've said it before on here, like I think that the way the modern football now has gone into a way of like, rather than having substitutes on the bench because they're weaker players in the first 11, almost having finishers on the bench. I still feel I prefer Adama coming off the bench than starting a game, but I do feel like his recent form probably meant he should be starting this game on the weekend. And I know Sarabia's been taking a few penalties, which is what I'd be quite interested to hear both your thoughts on it, really, as well, with Sarabia. Like, I think he's a very good footballer. My reservation with Sarabia is like with any sort of winger or number 10, if you want to call him that comes outside the Premier League into leagues. The ones that are most effective usually have like a turn of pace about them, a little bit about them. Yeah, and like I can't remember many wingers coming into the league and like tearing it up who lack that like burst of pace, as it were. You know, like Anthony came in the summer, and he was like a big transfer fee, hasn't done a lot. Jadon Sancho's another one who's been suffering. I think he hasn't got rip roaring pace, but on the weekend he played in the 10, he looked loads better. That's what I think Sarabia sort of lacks to be playing out wide. I'd rather see Sarabia inside in that sort of number 10 role, and then maybe, like you say, couldn't you go out to the wings? But I don't know what you guys think about Sarabia, but I think it's been really. I think Wolves fans love a scapegoat, and it seems like, well, for whatever reason this weekend, he's been the scapegoat.
I'd pass over to you, Dave, first. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think the thing with Sarabia is I think a lot of the play came through him. I thought, especially in the first half, and that's when there weren't runners or the moves breaking down. I think it did reflect quite badly on him. I mentioned it on the reaction. I expected a little bit more from him so far. I thought he wasn't at his best or wasn't at the level he could have been on Saturday. But then on the flip side of that, I think he could have a very quiet game but still produce good opportunities. And I think he was involved in 4 good opportunities on Saturday. I know somebody put a comment about it on, saying opinions and so on, that he thought Sarabia had a really good game, whilst on the flip side, my reaction was that I didn't think he played brilliantly. So I think, again, it's not putting him in the right position. I think as a number 10, he would be better, almost playing that role that Moutinho is now. But I don't know. I think that's, as a winger, I want somebody to have that bit of pace to try and beat a man, where Sarabia technically is fantastic, but physically probably isn't quite there where possibly a Premier League winger should be. I'm not saying they all need to be lightning quick, but yeah, just need a little bit more from him, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got a profile. Sorry, Matt, I was going to say, like, for me,
That's right.
The only player that I can sort of compare him to in like modern Premier League history is like Juan Mata. In terms of, I feel like he's got. I think he can open. I think he'll create stuff out of nothing for you. I think his first touch is incredible. He's got a good left foot, but Mata was never blessed with pace, and he's still had a good career. It's just finding that right position for him at Wolves, and yeah, people writing him off after the weekend. It stinks for me. Like people are actually literally going as far. You can say he's had a bad game, but people are saying, "Oh, he's shit. He's this. He's that." It's like, come on, we've seen far worse down there. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah. It's all right. His most fruitful season was at Sporting, wasn't it? What, couple of seasons ago now, in terms of
last year it was.
Goal.
Yeah, last year.
Was it last year? Sorry. Goal getting in returns. I'm just having a look at him on who scored and looking at positions, and he played. I know, obviously, with who scored, you take it with a pinch of salt, but 20 out of his 27 games in the league, he played through the middle. As either a number 10 or as a centre forward. So. And that's where the best of his returns are. So, Jord, I think you might be onto something there. But again, it's like we've got real good squad depth, but balance. It feels a little bit samey.
Yeah, well, it has for some time though. Like in terms of we swapped even under Nuno, we swapped wingers out, didn't we? And it was always almost like you swap in the same sort of profile for other than Adama, who I think is
one of a kind.
One of a kind, and he can't be replicated. Even with Neto at the start of the season, because he was playing off the right, he was ineffective, wasn't he? Like we said, he was very ineffective, and sort of we have got a lot of similar profile of player, and like realistically, what we need and what people are screaming out for in the comments and any Wolves fan is you want a natural goal scorer, and they cost a lot of money in the transfer market, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and if I think Raul was that until the injury, but we didn't buy Raul as a natural goal scorer. He wasn't prolific before he came to us. We just sort of found a system and it sort of looked out on him a little bit. To be honest,
he never really had a chance, though, did he? To be fair, like his goals to games ratio was good, but he was never, for Benfica, he wasn't their star man. He just, he came to England and it just worked.
Yeah, and we are screaming out for number 9, aren't we? But I mean, there's probably well, probably every team in the Premier League other than Man City are screaming out for one at the minute.
Yeah, I do like Cunha though. Like you can tell he's an intelligent player, but it's just at the minute it just doesn't seem to be working. It didn't at Southampton. It didn't yesterday. Liverpool maybe a bit more so, but again that was calamitous defending from Liverpool, so that always helps. But moving on to the second half, gents, and Bournemouth scored their first and only shot on target. Dave, disappointing one to concede, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, it came from our own opportunity down the other end of the pitch. So
they counter really well though, Bournemouth, to be fair.
I thought throughout the game, especially towards the end when they were 1-0 up, it's not like they're part 11 men behind the ball for the rest of the match. They actually still tried to play, and even in the dying moments of the game, they were still trying to push Wolves a little bit. So, and that's why I think, unfortunately, we've probably hit Bournemouth where they're almost trying to hit, change the way they're playing, and possibly could hit a decent run of form against Newcastle last weekend. They played, they actually tried to attack and play quite well. And the Bournemouth fans said on the preview before that they were just parking the bus, and that's why they were losing matches. But at Newcastle, they actually got in their faces a little bit, and I thought they did that against us, albeit with a little bit of time wasting in the dark arts and so on, which frustrated me. But it was frustrating one to concede, especially so early in the second half as well.
You mentioned there about the time wasting and stuff, Dave. We got managed out of the game, and I know you said on the review that the referee needs to get almost clamped down on it. But how do they do it? Because you can't book someone for going down, can you? Like it's so frustrating, and we do it, but it's for us to try and force a way through the game and just try and work around that kind of black magic.
We've done it before. I think for me, obviously I mentioned it on the reaction. I think that was a little bit reactionary, believe it or not. But I think it was just frustrating because I think the referee, to be honest though, I thought they were doing it in the first half as well. Neto was taking an age with his goal kicks. And maybe it's just a little bit of inexperience from the referee, because I don't think he's not a referee that I'm too familiar with, to be honest. Where if it was Jared Gillett, I think he would have had a field day on Saturday. But yeah, I think it is. They just, when you're desperate and fighting for points, especially when you're 1-0 up, I think they just did what they had to do. Obviously it worked and got them the 3 points.
I think they were good value for the 3 points, to be honest. I thought second half they were better than us and come up with one bit of quality, which we couldn't do, and scored. But Jord, in terms of the bigger picture, it wasn't a great weekend for Wolves because of all the results going, well, majority of the results going against us. Do you think that some of the reaction on Twitter where it's end of the world is a little bit what Dave said there, a little bit heat of the moment reactionary?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I think, the reason why we are where we are in the league is because we are still a little bit inconsistent. Like Lopetegui is still trying to work out his best 11. I still think he hasn't got a clue what to do with Nunes. I don't think Nunes has got a clue what to do with himself, to be honest with you, at the minute. That's a big problem at the moment. Obviously, João Gomez is probably someone he sees being a starter when he gets up to match fitness. Obviously, Lamina was out the weekend. I just think these games happen every now and again in football. Like we conceded with the only shot against us on target. A bit of a sucker punch. Bournemouth were well worth the 3 points after that. We didn't do enough to win the game. I think that people saying, we're going down now is, like I say, just pony. Like, granted, we lost on the weekend. Bournemouth have got 3 points closer to us, but we've seen enough. Like, I mean, Lopetegui's in his 8 Premier League games, we've won 50% of the games he's been in. Like, that's incredible for a team that are struggling at the moment in the Premier League. You know what I mean? So there's nothing to worry about. We're going to have these hiccups and we're going to have these little bumps in the road. I think at the end of the day, really, like I said, I think a few weeks ago on the podcast, like whether we come 12th or 17th now, it doesn't really matter. The season's been a bit of a write-off because how we started. Just stop in the Premier League and just, it don't matter. Just focus on next season.
Yeah, I agree. It's, like I said, it's not going to be plain sailing. We're still trying to search for a bit more confidence. You mentioned about Nunes there before we go on to the BetMate winnings. But Dave, how many times have we been to a game and I said this bloke cannot pass a football? He's got everything. He's everything we've ever wanted. But my word, he's especially his switches of play awful. I don't know how Adama got the end of that one.
Yeah, the Adama control was phenomenal, but the pass was absolutely atrocious by Nunes. And it wasn't just the once. You saw it against Southampton last week. He did a really poor pass, which led to one of their counters. You just got to tidy up on that because they're just poor results. You're really, really poor. But I think it didn't help him. If I try and defend him a little bit, I don't think it helped him much with the lack of balance in the midfield. Again, I think you could tell with Miss Lamina. When Bournemouth Traore was fit, I thought we played our best when it was him in the midfield three with Neves and Nunes. And I think the last two games we've seen, or 2 or 3 games, Liverpool and the Southampton game, Lamina has been a good player. West Ham game he came on in as well. So I think we missed that a lot. I've been talking over the last few podcasts about trying to balance a squad out, and I thought we did that in the January window, but Martino, Neves and Nunes again was just going back to the same old, and I don't think that helps us do as much favours.
No, I think you're right there, mate. His passing was bad, but like you said, it's about that balance as well. And Lamina looks like he allows them to Neves and Nunes to maybe
play a little bit more, do what they need to do,
unlock them a little bit more because Nunes was deeper than Neves at the weekend, which I know he's in that double pivot, but like the Martino at number 10, yes, he doesn't have to press as much because it's a short, sharp movements rather than having to cover laterally. But it just doesn't work for me. But lads, go on.
Sorry, to finish, I just thought we were a little bit too one-dimensional because all it was Neves coming quite deep to get the ball, or Nunes, but tended to be Neves just in front of the back four, and then every time it was just try and find Adama. And which is fair enough. Adama is obviously a talented player, but I think we just need a little bit more than that to win football matches. Yeah,
especially when you're whipping it into 5'9" Sarabia at the back, so you can aim only. So a frustrating one. The old gold pack, the fan initiative with to try and improve the atmosphere. David, I don't know what your thoughts were from the North Bank. It was, I don't know. It was. I like what they're trying to do and I understand it and I back it, but I feel it fell on deaf ears a little bit. The flags look yellow as well. They didn't look like old gold.
They didn't get enough publicity prior to the match, I think. Whenever I looked for it, I had to almost go digging to see what was going on. The flags looked okay, but before the match I saw them, and then I kept peering over a number of times throughout the match and didn't see them again. I'm not sure whether they were meant to be flying them for the 90 minutes or whatever, but I think unfortunately for them, they picked, and it's not their fault, they probably picked a pretty poor match to kick it off with because the match wasn't great, so the atmosphere was really drab. I think if they started that at the Liverpool game and we had the same result, it would have been fantastic and people would have been talking about it a lot more, but yeah, unfortunately it probably wasn't the best weekend to start it off, but obviously that's not their fault.
Jord, any thoughts on it? I'd quite like to see a tifo rather than flags, but
I just think the Molyneux atmosphere, like a lot of people, has been struggling for some time now, and I think that isn't. I don't even know if it's necessarily just Molyneux. I think it might just be generally football grounds post-COVID. It just seems to be different. Like we said, like the Forest away game in the Carabao Cup, it was very, that atmosphere was brilliant. But it's excitement. They're in the new, they've got promoted. There's stuff going on. I thought the atmosphere against Liverpool at home was decent. I still don't think it was rocking. We won 3-0. I don't think it was rocking by any means. But I just think with atmosphere, performances on the pitch get you atmosphere. Flags for me aren't going to do it. I want it to work for them. I think it's a good initiative. I think singing sections, all this sort of stuff where, and again, I don't want us to go like bloody the Arsenal wankers in the black tops and start fucking all that sort of stuff. But it's got to be something like that, even like drum. Like I don't know. It's just so hard, isn't it? But I think the long and short of it is if you win football games, the atmosphere will be there, and we have still been very inconsistent, unfortunately, at the moment. So I do hope it works for them, but I just don't. I'm not sure flags is going to just change it overnight for me.
Yeah. No, but it wasn't all doom and gloom, gents, was it? And I'm looking mostly at you, Jord. So on the BetMate pot, it was £3 in for your chance to win this share of £300, and that was on the Saturday 3 p.m. kickoffs. Big congratulations to McMocky7 and Angela Smith 68, who both came first, taking home a share of £70. Then joint third was Talking Wolves Jordan, who took home £25.50, and his burner account, Mike Oxlong. They both took out £25.
Now, George is Mike Oxsmall.
Mike Ox Tiny.
Tiny.
So, Jord, well done, mate. You're the best at talking Wolves out of.
Thanks, mate. It means a lot.
Bet, mate,
means a lot, Addis. Thanks. Means a lot coming from you, mate. I like the fact that there's that guy on Twitter, Dave, who's like, "Oh, Jord to the goat at BetMate." I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to get recognised now. I'm like, yeah. I don't really know if we can put it on your gravestone, though, can you? All round nice guy, winning smile,
decent at BetMate.
Decent at BetMate. May he rest in peace. I don't know if it'll work, but if it carries on, I might need to get it on the headstone. I won't lie.
BetMate are doing a lot of spaces, aren't they, on Twitter? So perhaps we should have a word, see if you can join, because they do spaces about like tips and tricks. So perhaps you get involved, mate, because you seem to be doing well. But Jord wasn't the only one who managed to get into the paid places this week, was he, Dave?
No, we did all right as well. To be fair,
it was two peas in the pod. Both took home £6, finished on 11th. Very cozy in 11th place, but not bad at all. Finn was nowhere to be seen. But
I'm happy with that because I completely forgot about my team before. So there were 2 or 3 of my players that didn't even start and came off the bench.
Oh, it's a masterclass.
I know. As a party. But yeah, if I actually had a look at the team, I might have probably besides the order changed it for the worse. So yeah, we take it.
I did have a look before and made sure some of my players were playing, but no Haaland goal. I think probably changed everyone's fortune. Did you have Haaland, Jord?
No, not even in my team. I had Enzo captain. This is what I mean. Like, I was surprised to come third because I had Kepa in goal. I had Dawson and Kilman, I think, or Dawson and Semedo at the back. So those are 3 clean sheets gone. Enzo's captain. But yeah, Enzo Fernandez is a bit of a god on that game, by the way. He seems to just get points, which you should do for 100 odd million quid. But yeah,
he's all action, isn't he? He's all action.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. He's all action. Now, before we move on to preview the Fulham versus Wolves game, we've got a message from one of our partners at Football Prizes. So, Dave, how do you like the sound of winning the chance of or having a chance of winning a 22-23 Wolves squad signed and framed Wolves home shirt? That sound good?
Sounds fantastic. Yeah, that look lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I told you it was £3.95 to enter, what would you say?
I'd be like, give me 5 tickets, please.
5 tickets, sir. So you can enter the competition for the 2022/23 Wolves squad signed and framed Wolves home shirt. It was £3.95 to enter, as well as the main squad signed shirt. Every ticket purchase gives you an additional 9 chances of winning a prize in the competition. The other prizes are a Nelson Semedo signed and framed Wolves montage. Jord, sound good?
It sounds like it go right above the fireplace, mate. To be honest,
nice on the mantelpiece. What do you think the missus would say about the Nelson Semedo montage?
I think she'd be like, I don't know. I think she'd be mesmerised. I think that'd be the
word. I think she would as well. Not only that, I believe there's another 8 £5 football prize site credits to be won as well. So it's a maximum 149 tickets for the prize. So go to footballprizes.co.uk or the link in the description to take a look. Competition ends Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. and it's £3.95 to enter. Right then, chaps, Fulham versus Wolves under the lights at Craven Cottage, renovated Craven Cottage on Friday night. Dave, they're in form. However, Wolves are actually the form side going into this. I know the positions in the table may suggest otherwise, but it's a real tough game and probably a game that at the start of the season we earmarked as one would go there and win.
Yeah, they're doing really well. Really, I think they're 6th in the table, aren't they, right now as we speak? They're doing really well, which surprised me. I thought they'd struggle or probably be, in a similar position to where we are right now. So fair play to them. And Marco Silva, I think, has finally found a job where things are going his way. I'm sure he had a moan in the summer as well about lack of signings and stuff. So fair play to him. But I think João Palhinha has been phenomenal signing for them, frustratingly. But yeah, it's they're doing well. But I thought we gave them a pretty good game at the start of the season. We arguably could have gone and won it. I know Jose Sarr made the save for Mitrovic's penalty. But Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I think, if we can get 3 points there, last weekend's game against Bournemouth will all be forgotten.
Jord, how do you line up for this game? Do you go 4-4-2?
I don't know. It's quite difficult, isn't it? I think you've got to respect them as a good team, and I think that probably Marco Silva for me, unless Arteta wins the league of Arsenal's manager of the season comfortably in the Premier League. If you're asking me, I think he's done absolute wonders with them. I think they're, like I say, anytime I've watched them on TV, I've not been impressed with them, and I mean that in the way of I don't feel like they're a team that are going to play up the park as such. Yeah, no, but they are very functional, and under Nuno, that's what we were, weren't we? Just very good on the break, and when they got Mitrovic up front, and there is a chance he might not play on Friday, miss the weekend. Give him half a chance. They're going to put it in the back of the net. So I think they've been very functional. I think it's a winnable game still. We're just going to go there and play with a bit of confidence, like you say. I think if we go and beat Fulham, Bournemouth gets forgotten about very quickly, and all those sort of doubters of us going down, they all vanish all of a sudden overnight. But look, it's going to be a tricky game. It's one of my. I'm not there on Friday, but it is probably my favourite away ground in the whole country.
I think it's
Friday
crap.
night.
I do.
I disagree. I love it. I do. I think it's awesome. But 8:00 on a Friday night's not going to do anyone any favours, is it? So
no. Everyone raves about Fulham away, and I just think it's crap. Every London away day is crap for me.
I've never done Fulham. That's what I said this year. I want to do all the away games that I haven't done, and then I looked Fulham, London, Friday night. Nah, you're right.
And not every London away game. That's
most are. Getting into London
are.
and travelling around London is a ball ache.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be a tough game. But Dave, Lamina suspension is no longer in force. Does he come straight back into the team?
Yeah, I think so. Probably for Moutinho. Unless Lopetegui does his crazy Nunes left wing experiment again. But yeah, probably for Moutinho for me, and he'll be a welcome addition back to the team. We need that little bit of steel. It'll be a really intriguing midfield battle between sort of Neves, Nunes, and Lamina, and obviously Palhinha for Fulham as well. So really intrigued to see what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of players that they've got that necessarily didn't think would hit the heights that they have. I mean, like Willian's having like an Indian summer. He's playing unbelievable. Teti at fullback's good. Tim Ream as well. Like I've been really impressed with him this season. It's Harrison Reed, isn't it? The centre mid as well. Yeah. So they've got on paper you'd probably say they've got a better squad, but they're doing it exceptionally well. And I think it's testament to Marco Silva really, and it must be great being a Fulham fan at the minute. It must feel how we felt in the in the first season, but I can't help but feel it's just kind of symbolises just how poor the Premier League's been this season. Apart from the top two, and even Man City haven't been in top form. I think it's been pretty poor. But Dave, if I were to push you for a prediction, do you think it could score?
1-1 draw.
Not a 1-1 win.
No. I would also take an Adama last-minute winner like we saw a couple of years ago when we were in a similar sort of position to where we are now.
That basically meant we were safe that game, weren't it? We were also,
it was. That was a massive, massive one. But yeah, 1-1 draw. So with you saying that, not a 1-1 win, I was talking to someone about this. Back in the day, we used to go to the casino in Wolverhampton. There was this woman that would come in and she'd go, "Can I have £5 on red and £5 on black, please?" And the guy just looked at her like, "What?" So every time he was spinning, she was, other than when it obviously landed on green, she was winning every time. She thought she was balling. I thought, you're literally going nowhere. So yeah, 1-1 draw, not 1-1 win. Sorry.
They keep you occupied for hours. That would. Yeah. Jord, prediction.
I've just got a sneaky feeling about us, and I don't know why. I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm going to go with the Craig Dawson double.
Oh my God!
That's like me in the stands, isn't it? 1-0 Nathan Collins.
1-0 Nathan Collins. Every corner.
No, I genuinely think though, like watching Dawson attack both set pieces, I've never seen. I reckon he's world class at attacking a corner.
Oh, he's unbelievable. Yeah,
he's like fucking the Hulk.
He's not the biggest though, is he?
Yeah. He just attacks every ball, doesn't he? Like every time it goes near, I think, fucking go on. I'm just like, go on, snot it in, yeah.
Backed.
So yeah, let's go, Craig. I brought him in my fantasy football team as well for the double game week, so I need some goals.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, Jord, you say there that you fancy us.
Yeah.
Perhaps that goes some way towards explaining your BetMate team. So the BetMate pot for this game is £5 in for your chance to win the share of £500, and it's the Fulham versus Wolves pot. And also for this game, there will be a free pot for Freebie February, so make sure you go and check that out. But that won't be live up until an hour before kickoff, so make sure you go and have a look at that. And of course, with it being an hour until kickoff, you've got up until 5 minutes before kickoff to change your teams. But Jord, let's start with you. If you fancy Wolves, talk us through your BetMate team and why this is going to finish top of the league.
So, again, I think with Mitrovic potentially being out, it's a big miss for them guys. And I've gone heavy on the Wolves players. So I've got Jose Sarr in goal, Craig Dawson, and Max Kilman. Again, 5 minutes before kickoff, I do quite fancy either Bueno or Aitnery, and that probably will be for Kilman, but we'll wait and see because Lopetegui still doesn't know which of them two he prefers at the moment either. I've got Ruben Neves captain. I've got Mario Lemina vice captain to get some interceptions and some tackles. Bobby Reed as my Fulham player and Pablo Sarabia to shut the haters up and give a big shush to all those Twitter knobheads.
I love it. Dave, talk me through your team, mate.
I've probably broken most BetMate rules here because I've gone like really 50-50 with my team. I've gone with Sarr in goal as vice captain.
Wow.
Issa Diop and Nelson Semedo as my two defenders. Palinha in the middle as my captain because he's a little bit like Enzo. He just gets you the points, doesn't he? Neves next to him. And I've gone with Solomon for Fulham up top alongside Adama Traore. Yeah, so it's a bit of a 50-50 split there. But I think I might get, closer to the time, a little bit like the Liverpool game. Pulled up on the car park, I thought I'm changing this to all Wolves. That's when I won the money. So hopefully I get one of those feelings before this game as well.
Hopefully, mate. I've gone with Leno in goal, Robinson and Semedo at the back. I just think they're going to be up and down, all action, up and down the wing. Ruben Neves, Joao Pena in the middle. Again, similar to what you've said, interceptions. And then Sarabia and Traore up top. I think Traore's got an assist in him and Sarabia does his work defensively. So I'm hoping he can score me a few points there. Vice captain Neves and captain Pena because his 5-game average is always ridiculous. So I'm hoping he can score me a few points. But same with you, Dave, really. I've gone against all what we know with BetMate. Well, Jord teaches us the Messiah and we've gone for a mix. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what it's like at the end of the game on Friday to see whose tactics have reaped the most rewards. But just a reminder of the pot, it's £5 in for your chance to win a share of £500, which is a Fulham v Wolves pot. Don't forget the free pot for Freebie February. And of course, with all this, please gamble away. Right then, chaps, moving on to the questions. So thanks to those who sent in their questions on Twitter. Brad Bagnall has asked, do you think Adama I can't speak today. I got the Dave as a parties. Do you think Adama does more harm than good when he starts? I think he makes us more one-dimensional and weakens our attack as everything seems to go through him when he starts, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that very similar earlier on, and I don't think it's necessarily his fault. I think the players always look towards him because they almost know he can get them up the pitch a little bit quicker. But it does sort of almost take me back a little bit to sort of Nunes' final months in charge because that's all we tended to do, give it to Adama and cross your fingers. So I think he does in a sense, but I don't think that's his fault. But I do like him when he comes. Obviously, I like him when he comes off the bench, and I think it was a good example over the last few weeks. Southampton, in particular, he came off the bench and made a real difference.
George, do you think Adama makes Wolves too one-dimensional from the start?
I think, echoing what Dave said, I think a little bit, yeah. It's not his fault, but yeah, because I feel like he's that much of a outlet that you sort of just naturally just try and get the ball out to him as quickly as possible, and it's the same as like when, back in the day when someone have launched Peter Crouch on or Jan Vennegoor or Hessler, these big lumps and you start going direct, like you almost play to his strengths, which then almost makes you become one-dimensional and quite easy to read. And like I said earlier in this pod, for me, I think we're a better team when Traore comes off the bench as a bit of a finisher, as such, and comes and stretches the game late on. So, yeah, I would agree that he does make it a little bit, too one-dimensional to me.
Jake Walker has asked, how many points do you think we get from the next 3 games? They look very tough to me. Next 3 games are Fulham away, Liverpool at home, Liverpool away, and Spurs at home. Jord, how many points do you think we'll get from that?
I think we'll do well to get 4. I'll say 4 because I said we're going to beat Fulham, and I don't think Tottenham are Jekyll and Hyde as anything. As there could be, depends what Spurs turn up. Liverpool look like they've just started to turn a corner a little bit in the last couple of performances, but I do feel like we're playing them at a decent time as well because they've obviously got Champions League commitments as well, so they might have their eye off it a little bit. But I do feel like they're starting to purr a little bit like they used to.
Dave, how many points from the next 3?
Yeah, I think 3 or 4 as well. Besides law, we lose to Fulham and then do the other 2. But yeah, I'd take 4. I think at the moment.
Oh, I think Liverpool are starting to turn a little bit of a corner as well.
Again, some of the big boys back as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I feel like we played Liverpool about 12 times already this calendar year.
Yeah, it's going to be 4 in 6 weeks, isn't it? Roughly. No, 7. Yeah. So. Well. Yeah.
Enough.
Enough. Yeah.
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 Too many.
Enough. Jord, will you be going to Anfield cheering on the Reds?
Yeah, the mighty Reds. Yeah. No, I will be in the Wolves end this end, and I'm taking my pal with me, so he'll be on his best behaviour. Don't you worry.
He's a cop-out, isn't he, your old man?
Yeah. So he was a glory hunter from the 70s. He's self-confessed. That's how it started. But to be fair, he goes to the games. He's better than these that just spout shit online and don't go. He actually does go. To be fair to him, so I can't really. He's a bit of a glory hunter, but he's
to be fair, that was like Finn though. He only started going when the first season with Nunes in charge. So.
See how Matt does it when he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
Stafford Rangers fan before, yeah. But obviously when they got rid of Bully, he was like, I can't support them anymore, and he picked Wolves. So yeah, it happens, doesn't it? Like when you're young, you're more impressionable. So can't blame him. Rebel Juice has asked, time to give Costa a run up front again, Dave.
I think we need somebody, whether it be Raul or Costa. I think Raul's still got something. He's obviously not as good as what he was before, but I think the slander after we just beaten Liverpool was absolutely ridiculous for him. So Raul or Diego Costa, I think if you want to give Costa, 50, 60 minutes and see where we are at in the game, then fair enough. But we need some sort of outlet up there. We need something.
Cheshire Oaks.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
A little bit of a Bicester Village up top there.
McCarthy, number 9, McCarthy Glen. Oh dear. Do you know Jimenez looks ill? I think he looked very pale. He needs to get on the 9-minute holidays. Jord, is it time for Costa to step up?
Only if it means Cunha's still playing. So I think Cunha's a better option up front than them two still as a number 9. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. I'd rather just play keep persevering with Cunha than play, dropping him to play one of them two. I think you can play Costa up front, Cunha off the wing or behind, and Sarabia. I don't mind seeing it as long as it's not to the detriment of Sarabia or Cunha coming out of the team at the minute.
What happens with Podence at the minute? Do you play Podence? If you
he went from being like he was player of the month in January, and then I think he's been injured, and then again his performance when he come off the bench on the weekend reminded me of when he come off the bench against Albion away in lockdown after his injury. He was fucking awful. I'm like, you don't look. I was just, what's the point? You know what? There's no point. You might as well stayed on the massage table. I don't understand why you put come on the pitch. And he's one that does polar opinion. I still think Podence is one of our better players. Very creative. Some of his flicks. Dave got banned, blocked for him, didn't he? For saying, which is fair as well. It's absolutely.
Dave didn't want to see him in a Wolves shirt again, but
no. But I still think Podence is in our best 11.
I'd say so. Yeah,
but Who knows?
Who knows? Ben Curtis and various others have asked about where we stand on the Sarabia slander. I feel like we've covered that in previous questions. I think it's a little bit unjust. Richard Fletcher has asked the Wolves. Richard Fletcher always asks really good questions. So thanks, Richard. Always very detailed. So thanks for sending them in, mate. The Wolves fall into trap of always buying the same profile of players. We seem to have brought numerous Trincao clones in recent years. Whilst Cunha and Sarabia make them good, what we really need was a proper number 9 goal scorer. I'm going to flip that and ask, obviously, Dave, the club have identified as Cunha as the number 9, the out-and-out number 9. Are we just not seeing it? Or are 30,000 fans wrong and the club's right? Or
Yeah, I think it's frustrating because you've seen since...
You spent £40 million on him as well.
Yeah, I was going to say they've seen since the year we'd signed, Nunes last year, signed William Jose, he was gash. We get into that summer and we didn't sign a striker last year, did we, under Bruno Lage? So we had to sort of persist with an untested and unfit Raul Jimenez still, and obviously Fabio Silva. And then this summer we'd signed Kalajdzic, which obviously went horribly wrong. So I still think, this summer they attempted it. They tried to get somebody in, someone completely different to what we have been. But I think, like Jord said earlier, we've got to survive this year. And then this summer they have to do it because Diego Costa will go. I think Jimenez will go. I still don't think Cunha is the answer. Like I said earlier, he's not gonna score the goals. I think it's going to be very, very difficult to find a striker that's going to get us 15, 20 goals a season. I think we still need to start relying on other areas of the pitch to score goals. I think you need the goals from Sarabia, from Adama, from Podence a little bit more. But it is baffling that they're not going out for an out-and-out striker. I think, so even someone like Gyökeres, who we mentioned a couple of times throughout January, would have been a safer bet, I think.
You're not a fan of William Jose?
Oh, mate, he would. I was excited when he first joined. I thought he had something. Oh, there we go. I forgot we had that involved. Yeah, he was a poor player.
He was. Jord,
we've got David Luiz sent off there, so happy days. And Arsenal fans still talk about it to this day.
Oh God, no, to this day, it's definitely a red card as well. But Jord, are most Wolves fans wrong and the club right in identifying Cunha as that out and out number 9? It could be that we want to play a different way next season, and they've just got Cunha in because no other clubs were interested, and it's almost like they've brought it forward a transfer window.
Yeah, I don't think the club have necessarily got it wrong. I think it's back to what I said earlier on, where I see him as a bit as a Firmino type of striker, a bit of a false 9, but I just don't think we've got the profile of winger, inside forward, whatever you want to call them, that literally just go in behind and do that into out runs and just go and do that often enough. So I think he could be in a different sort of system. Again, I think we've nailed our colours to the mast. So there'll be our flag to the mast. Should say that I think he's in more of a 10 or play him off the wing. Yeah, it's tough. Like, who do we get? Like, that's the other thing. Like, who do we go and get as our like focal point as a striker? It's so difficult without spending a lot of money. I was having this chat on the weekend, and we would never get him. So I'm not saying we should be in for him in the summer, but like, no, it's going to be a bit outlandish. But I was having this chat, and like the sort of profile of player I think would suit us is someone like Richarlison. He's not playing every minute at Tottenham, and I'm not saying we're getting him. I'll continue squirming, but that type of player with a Cunha around him would work, in my opinion.
I disagree. I think he's similar to Cunha.
You really?
I think he's best off the left.
I don't know.
He's like a Rashford.
Yeah, Rashford.
Not signing Rashford, sorry. I meant like he's playing style. Playing him like Rashford. I'm bringing back sort of 2018, 2019.
Imagine if we signed him in 2019. Wow.
Who started that rumour?
Don't know, but then Tim Nash came on the channel and said it was actually a thing. Remember? I don't know.
I weren't there, thankfully.
I was very naive back then because somebody told me, and I took it in very good faith and tweeted out about it, and I got pelted.
About Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
you reckon he'd start for us?
Not sure he'd get him behind Huang, to be fair.
I like Huang. The Huang slander is unjust. He's been better under Lopetegui.
I'm just trying to think of a generic winger for some sort.
That's okay, mate. Miles has asked, do you agree Nunes is slowing the game down when he gets the ball, and we end up playing to his tempo, which is too slow?
I don't really see it.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily.
I don't think he slows us down that much.
No,
he may go backwards maybe once or twice, but I think he drives us up the pitch more than anything. A lot of
Nunes go backwards.
I do think we get. I do think we're getting into the territory though now with Nunes, and I think he's an unbelievably talented footballer. But I do think we're getting to that territory now of has he actually been worth the money we've spent on him? That, in terms of goal contributions, I know a lot of people are very much Nunes is the best thing since sliced bread. I really like him as well, but the conversation's got to start soon, surely.
I'll tell you, no, I can tell you, I will predict what will happen right now. We'll sell him to Liverpool or whoever in the summer. Similar sort of, price, make a bit of money. Exactly the same thing that we said with Jota, saying, oh yeah, good player, but not really worked out at Wolves. And he goes on to be a very, very decent footballer at Liverpool.
You know what territory I think we're in? I think X part of the territory where we know there's a very good chance that he's not going to be at the end of the season. And we're just thinking, he's crap anyway. He was shit in bed. I didn't like shagging.
We talk.
You know what I mean? It was like
it's Morgan Gibbs White territory. This is.
It is. Oh, crap.
Morgan Gibbs White.
I'll drive him there myself.
Very good
I'll drive him there myself. 40 million quid.
Because he did this. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I'm nowhere near driving there myself. I'm just thinking there's going to be a time very shortly that there's a conversation to be had about actual goal contributions, value for money, pound for pound. Are we getting the Nunes that we thought we were getting? And I'm sort of starting to think we're not now. I think he's starting to be a bit of a disappointment, almost. It's verging on starting to go that way anyway.
Just put your cock on the block, mate, and say it. You're disappointed.
No, I'm not. No, because I very much put my opinions out there. I'm not there yet. I think there's a conversation to be had. I do think there's a conversation to be had though, because it's I don't know. I'm just expecting more. I do. I'm expecting more.
If Liverpool offered 50 mil now, Jord, would you take it?
Up front, yeah. No, it don't matter. Yeah. I think you do. Yeah. I don't think you get 50 million for him though. Right now.
I've got an idea.
Go on.
I've got an idea.
Yeah, go on.
Sell Nunes for 55 million.
Here we go.
Get the next train down to Bristol. Put £30 million on the table for Alex Scott. You got a bit of profit.
I think his asking prices come down,
Has it? Have you inquired?
I think so, yeah. 20. No, it's in the news. Yeah. I know word Nigel Pearson. Yeah.
You are an
Ostrich. I think he'll be at Wolves in the summer, Alex Scott.
I think he's very similar to Nunes as well, but he can pass the ball. So we move. That you heard it there first. When MSN are quoting Talking Wolves podcast, Jord Russell, Nunes is a disappointment, not worth the money.
Yeah,
quoting you get Dingles away. Yeah, really appreciate Talking Wolves for getting the Romain Sace interview, but Jord Russell's opinion here is horrific.
Yeah. Jordan Russell's an airhead. Yeah. Talk shite.
Something head. Howling Wolf has asked, do you find it easier analysing a match you've attended in person rather than one watched on TV? Do you ever watch a match a second time? And if so, do you ever change your opinion? Is your opinion influenced by your Talking Wolves colleagues? I don't know. I think on TV you see a bit more of the bigger picture, especially when you see it's a shit. But I very rarely watch the game back. I don't know about you guys. I think in terms of influence by Talking Wolves colleagues, no, but it's a sounding board. If we were to put Neves was shit at the weekend in the group chat, we'll all be like, what game are you watching? But it's more of a sounding board, isn't it? Yeah. Do you guys ever watch games back or find it easier watching it in person?
I do watch them back, sometimes when it's because I think it's quite hard. You sort of do get swallowed into it all, don't you, at a game, and you sort of miss things. And unless you're sitting in like the Steve Bull upper or the Billy Wright upper, for me, you don't get that full view. Like I like to sort of watch it almost like 2D classic on FM and start watching, see patterns of play and stuff. I don't think we get influenced by each other though, do it? Like I think we reactionary put stuff in like WhatsApp or Twitter and sort of we'll talk like, but I don't think, I think it'd be boring if we all agreed anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we have a very similar outlook on football anyway. We'll disagree with smaller things, but the overall picture is, we look at things fairly similar. In terms of analysing a match, I think it's always easier on TV because you do have the benefit of replays and so on for key events. There have been often where we would do a reaction or a video outside the stadium after a game and
I did not see it.
pick up on something and then people are like, what you want about? Like, so that has happened before. I think obviously with the replays, it's always better. But I very rarely watch games back. I've maybe watch the highlights, but I've not watched a single minute of other than the Wolves game. I haven't watched any of the Premier League highlights from Saturday or anything back at all. But I very rarely watch the games back. I need to take advantage more of the Wolves TV thing on the website because that is a criminally underused platform that they've got on there. You can watch minutes from most of our, if not all of our Premier League games and click a player and pick out all these passes and stuff. Like it's an analyst stream, that website is. So if people haven't already, you should definitely check that out.
Yeah, we could probably do like maybe get Jord to come in and do some tactical analysis.
I think we'll be copyrighted by another Wolves channel, won't we?
Yeah. Obviously, yeah.
I don't know. Pass. Moving on.
We won't be able to do stuff like that. There would be in terms
always
of
Wolves fan TV.
Yeah, we won't be able to do stuff. I'd like to. I don't feel like my knowledge is good enough though to slow down and pick apart a game. I really
have to get Joe Parker on.
Oh yeah. Chief international scout, Joe Parker. If anyone follows him on Twitter, yeah. Scouted one game and now thinks he's the next big thing. But it's you know what, like that course that he's done. I know we're going off topic a little bit, but it's mad how like you can get into like scouting and quite easily start going to games and getting paid for it. It does interest me, but like it doesn't interest me when he's going to like Leyton Orient versus bloody Arsene de Nowhere FC on a Wednesday night. Like if he was
if you do it locally, But even watch it TV. But
So say if you're in that profession, surely you can get the video sent to you as well of the game. Surely you can get the 90-minute.
I think he does get quite a few.
Class.
Yeah. I think with the courses he gets access to Y Scout anyway, but it definitely interests me. But it's just a lot. It's a lot of time, isn't it? And you'd want to be like almost building reports on like big games with like players that you can identify quite easily. I'd imagine quite a lot of those players at that level are all quite samey in terms of like quite limited. So I just try and pick out, and then perhaps if someone's good, then they maybe be able to shine. But anyway, we're going off tangent. That's all for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have. Hopefully, we can be talking next week about a Wolves coming back into form with a win over Fulham. I'm not too sure whether they're going to do it, but I certainly hope they do. Dave, where can people find you should they wish?
It's at Dave as a party on Twitter and Instagram, and obviously the old
Jord. Where can people find you?
Yeah, Jord7, Twitter, Instagram, and Jordan Russell on LinkedIn, as Dave just said.
Wonderful stuff. M. Cooper writes on Twitter, Matt Cooper bites on Twitter and YouTube. We are talking Wolves across all socials. Of course, the most important one out of all those is LinkedIn. Don't forget the BetMate pot, £5 in for your chance to win £500 on the Fulham versus Wolves pot. And don't forget the free pot for Freebie February. Again, won't be live until an hour before kickoff. But until next time, enjoy yourselves. If you like the video, let us know. Subscribe if you know. And safe travels down to Fulham on Friday. And take care.